Okay, so this is either the coolest thing I've ever covered, or the most insane. Maybe both. Eva and Rodrigo, young couple from Cantabria, Spain, basically looked at a giant metal shipping container and said, yeah, that's gonna be our house. No prior experience, no construction background, just a wild idea and the guts to actually go for it. And honestly, I'm obsessed with this story. Let me walk you through the entire process from the very start, before the first brick was placed, before any construction tools were brought in, and before any building work began. Everything started with preparing and understanding the land itself. Picture this: overgrown weeds everywhere, uneven ground, a total mess. This wasn't some nice flat plot ready to build on. This was basically a jungle. They're out there hacking through thick vegetation just to see what they're working with. And then, once the weeds are gone, surprise! The ground underneath is completely uneven, so now they're constantly adjusting, re-leveling, figuring it out as they go. Classic first day on a project, right? Then comes the foundation. And this part is actually really smart. They dig holes into the ground, which, by the way, the soil is rock hard. Like trying to dig through concrete. Lucky for them, it had rained recently, so the ground had softened just enough to make it manageable. Each hole gets a concrete base poured in, then these concrete support blocks go in, leveled one by one, millimeter by millimeter. Because here's the thing, if even one of those supports is slightly off, the entire container sits crooked, and a crooked container is a problem that doesn't go away. But here's the clever part. This foundation isn't fully permanent. If they ever need to move the container someday, they actually can. No tearing everything apart. That kind of forward thinking is what separates a good build from a great one. While all that's happening, security becomes a priority. They need a fence, but they don't want it to look cheap or boring. So they mix materials, different textures, different elements, all working together. It keeps the cost down, but honestly, it looks way more interesting than your standard fence. And it fits the land perfectly. Kind of rustic, kind of unique. Now the stone wall at the entrance. This is where the build starts getting really satisfying to watch. They reinforce the base with steel mesh and rebar rods every 50 centimeters, tying the concrete foundation directly into the stonework above. They leave drainage gaps at the back too, 2 openings that let rainwater escape. Without those, water builds up behind the wall, pressure builds up, and eventually the whole thing starts to crack and shift. Small detail, massive difference. Now, the ramp. This is one of those details most people would overlook, but stick with me because it's actually kind of satisfying. They build a stamped concrete ramp at the entrance, reinforced with steel mesh and rebar, and then they add a colored cement layer on top. Then comes the stamping with these textured molds to make it look like natural stone. They use multiple mold patterns, so nothing repeats. The result looks genuinely beautiful. One catch, you have to leave the molds overnight. And then the next morning, Eva goes over it with a pressure washer and the full texture just reveals itself, like unwrapping something. I love moments like that in a build. Here's one I didn't expect. They made their own paving slabs. From scratch. The idea was to create a path from the entrance all the way to the container, so you're not walking through dust in summer or mud in winter. Simple idea, really practical. And they reinforced each slab 2 ways. Synthetic fibers mixed into the concrete and a small steel grid inside the mold. After 24 hours, out they come. After the ramp formwork comes off, Rodrigo notices a height difference at the front edge. There's a step where there shouldn't be one. So he digs a trench along the front, pours a base layer, and sets stones into it, shaped to about 18 centimeters, leaving room for cement joints. The visible outer face gets the most attention, because that's the side everyone sees. This is also where the gate is going in. Eva's dad comes to help dig a wider trench for bigger foundation stones, because the gate posts need serious support. Then a mix of sand and cement fills all the gaps and locks the stone border to the stamped concrete. Clean edge, solid finish. The next day, they apply a protective varnish to the stamped surface. Protection against rain, frost, dirt, and general wear. Years of durability sealed in with one coat. Okay, here's where things get really interesting. The front of the container. They're cutting it open for a huge glass window and sliding door. Steel gets cut, welded into a solid frame, and they add these clever metal flanges that act like tiny roofs over the window. Keeps the rain off the glass. Practical and clean. Then they paint the whole metal structure with a two-part system. Zinc-rich primer first, then a polyurethane topcoat that's resistant to UV, weather, and temperature swings. Because a shipping container sitting outside forever needs serious protection. Roof time. They go with sandwich panels, 2 metal sheets with insulation locked in the middle. Thermal, acoustic, and waterproof all in one go. They pick a 60mm slate textured panel in anthracite. And honestly, the moment those go on the container stops looking like a container and starts looking like a building. Exterior facade next. They're using a hybrid system. Metal channels at top and bottom as guides, vertical studs in between, a waterproof membrane overlapped in both directions, and then fiberglass reinforced plasterboards on top. It's fast, it's economical, and it handles the weather. They also sort out the floor temporarily. OSB boards on a small metal frame, covered with leftover waterproof membrane. Nothing fancy, just practical. Keeps things safe while work continues above and around it. The exterior walls get a mortar finish too. A thin 3mm base coat first, with reinforcement mesh pressed into the corners where cracks are most likely to appear. Smart, simple, effective. Leyland cypress trees go in around the perimeter. Up to 50 centimeters of growth per year, handles heavy rain, handles drought, low maintenance. They're not just for looks, they're going to be a proper windbreak. And in Cantabria, where the wind can be relentless, that matters a lot. The fence goes up around the full perimeter. Chain link mesh stretched between posts with diagonal braces at every direction change, because those corners take serious tension when the wires are tightened. The entrance section gets metal gates, cut to fit precisely, aligned so each panel lines up perfectly with the next. And now, the gates. This might be my favorite part of the whole build. Eva and Rodrigo made the entrance gates themselves, from chestnut trees on their own land in Cantabria. Cut in winter, the right time for felling, brought down from the forest, squared off, then left to dry for 6 months. Eva's dad helps install the metal frame. Rodrigo drills and fits threaded metal inserts into every board, meaning you can remove and replace individual boards later without ever damaging the wood grain. The boards mount onto a welded support sheet, and slots are cut to hide the fixings completely. First, they tried a water-based stain. It stayed wet for weeks and never dried properly. They switched to solvent-based varnish. Fast drying, durable, smooth. The gate goes up, the lock goes in, cylinder lock, 5 keys, completely affordable. And one leaf gets pinned to the ground, so the wind doesn't throw it. It looks incredible. Now, here's where it gets ambitious. They decide to add a second floor. Rodrigo and his brother start welding the framework. 50 by 50 millimeter steel tubes, 3 millimeter thick walls, directly onto the original container beams. 2 corners welded straight into the existing structure. Later, when they cut the container roof, those corners get reinforced with solid braces. There's a height limit they have to respect. Spanish road regulations cap it at 4.5 meters total, so the container stays transportable. That keeps the upper floor at a 1.2 meter clearance. Compact but workable. They also install a solar-powered security camera system at this point. No electricity on site yet, so it runs completely independently off a battery and a small solar panel. Waterproof membrane goes on the new roof section. Overlapped downslope, so water can't sneak in between the layers. Stretched in 3 sections, lower, middle, upper, always layering so the higher section overlaps the one below. Then the sandwich panels. These ones are designed with overlapping joints that seal against wind and water. And the big advantage here, because of the modular design, the whole roof goes on fast. High quality result, minimal time. Then comes the moment everyone had been building toward. They cut the original container roof open. This isn't a small thing. One wrong move and the structure gets damaged or someone gets hurt. But they do it carefully, methodically. And when that last cut is made and the roof panel drops away, there's suddenly this massive double-height interior space with light pouring in from every angle. Windows. And this is where they spend properly. The main window is custom made. They know you only do windows once, so they invested. Wooden guides clamped to the frame make installation easier since roof access is restricted. Window goes in, gets screwed to the steel structure, every gap sealed with polyurethane window foam. Airtight, moisture tight, done right. The terrace, L-shaped, covering two main areas, raised to exactly the same level as the container floor, so it feels like one continuous space. Rodrigo clears, marks and levels the whole area in winter. Smart timing because the wet ground is much easier to dig. Eva's dad joins for the block laying. Concrete poured fresh, blocks set straight into it, everything raised and leveled row by row. Joists go in for the decking. And here's a move I genuinely loved. Every single joist gets wrapped in plastic sheeting before installation. It costs almost nothing, but it stops direct water contact, and those joists will last decades longer because of it. First decking board is the most important. Get that one parallel and level, and everything that follows just clicks into place. Hidden stainless steel clips sit in the board grooves and screw down into the joists. No visible fixings anywhere on the surface. Full boards and half boards alternated to create a staggered pattern. Looks like it was done by a professional crew. They build a small planter along the edge to hide the block walls. Fill it with soil. Add steps and some plants. And suddenly, the terrace isn't just a terrace. It's an outdoor room. Water connection time. Rodrigo plans a small distribution box with individual taps for different circuits across the property. Then digs a trench from the connection point all the way across the stamped concrete to the container. Weed barrier goes down around the leyland cypresses, planted about 70 centimeters apart, with loose soil and compost for healthy root development. 20 bags of white stones cover the whole area. Clean, low maintenance, sharp looking. That's not just a home. That's proof that if you're stubborn enough and patient enough, you can build something that genuinely lasts. If this got you as hooked as it got me, hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. Drop a comment telling me which part of the build impressed you most. I genuinely want to know.